Dealing with FOMO can be hard, like really hard, especially in college when there's so much going on and it's so easy to feel like you're always missing out on something, especially as people with harder majors can relate. When you have to work for hours on end and you see other people going out and partying on weeknights and having fun all the time, it can be very frustrating. And the most important balance to strike in college is how can we do well in our classes, how can we succeed academically while also not feeling this constant sense of missing out. And I think this FOMO comes from three common fears. First is the fear that you're missing out on fun events. Second is the fear that you're missing out on meeting new and interesting people. And third is the fear that you're missing out on your college experience and you're not doing as many different activities as you should be. So now how do we address the first fear? You fear that you're missing out on fun experiences. If you're super busy, if you have a lot of tests to study for, and there's just a lot of work you have to get done, and you see that other people are constantly going out to parties, and you fear that you're really missing out on these parties and these other events, the first thing you can do is simply make your study sessions more entertaining. Make them more fun so you're less concerned about the fun other people are having. So for example, if it's the weekend and you're sitting on a campus building with no one in it, just alone, bored, doing your work, it's going to be miserable when you start to think about the events that other people are doing and what other people are getting up to. However, if you grab a couple good friends and you go somewhere like a nice, relaxing coffee shop where it's a nice vibe and you can do your work and have a good time, then you're not really going to be as concerned about what these other people are doing. If you can make your own work and your own experiences more fun, then you're going to care less and less about what other people are getting up to. So if you have to lock in on your classes and focus on your academics, make your study sessions more fun, and you'll stop worrying as much about the fun you're missing out in other places. And now the second fear we're going to look at is the fear of missing out on meeting new and interesting people. So you see people going out, the parties, bars, whatever else, and you see them meeting a ton of new people, and you feel like in a sense you're missing out because you're not getting the experience of meeting these new people, making new friends, making new connections, and this bothers you. And the solution to this is most likely the most difficult one in this video, but also I think the most effective. If you feel like you're missing out because you're not getting to meet as many people through events and going out because you're busy studying and focusing on your academics, then you need to find other ways to meet people. And honestly, I think the most effective way to work on this skill is quite literally just to go up to people in your day-to-day life and start random conversations. You would honestly be surprised how unbelievably common it is to just start a random conversation with someone, something like, oh, I think we're in the same class, or yo, I like your shirt or something. And for that person to just suddenly become your friend a couple weeks later. It's honestly silly how many people you can meet through just starting random conversations with people. A lot of people are nervous to do this, they feel like it's weird to talk to strangers, but the majority of people are more receptive than you would think to a conversation. I've met several of my really good friends through literally just walking up to someone and asking them what was up. And this is really useful to fight our second fear, because if you have to work, if you have to study and focus on your academics, and you don't necessarily have the time to constantly be going out to events to meet new people, this is something you can do in your everyday, day-to-day life, and it takes very little time. Just walking around, say you're on your way to a class and you see someone who looks interesting or who you'd want to start a conversation with. It takes very little time, but it can have a really amazing payoff in that you get to meet new people and you feel higher self-esteem, you feel less self-conscious about yourself because you're actually going out and meeting new people, but you're not spending hours and hours every single day to do it. And now the third fear, the fear that we're missing out on our college experience or that we're not doing as much as we should, is one that warrants a bit of a mindset shift. If we constantly think about college as the only time in our lives that we're going to have a lot of fun, and that if we're not partying and drinking and going out every night, then we're wasting our time or we're missing out on something, then obviously we're going to feel a ton of FOMO. But if you're trying to get all A's, if you're trying to work really hard on your classes, lock in, improve your GPA, then you have to acknowledge that you can't look at college this way. A lot of people get scared off because they hear from adults that college is the best years of your life. It all goes downhill after college. That's the time you're supposed to have fun, and then after that you're just working, and you'll essentially just stop having fun for the rest of your life. And obviously, if you think about college this way, if you think about it as the only time you'll ever be able to have fun, it's going to be very tempting to always think you should be doing something. If you're doing work, if you're focusing on your academics, it's very tempting to think, I'm never going to have this time again. I have to go out. I have to go drinking. But if you can switch your mindset, if you can understand that this is definitely not the end, you will continue to have fun times after college. There will be many opportunities to go to parties, have fun times, have new experiences, meet new people, if you can understand that college is not the end and that these things continue after this 4-year period, it's going to be a lot easier to understand that now is the time to work, now is the time to study, focus on your academics, lock in, focus on your degree, and then you can still have more fun in all the years to come. If you can take some weight off of the right here and the right now, you're gonna feel a lot less anxious when you're studying, when you're working, and when you can't go out and do these events constantly. Now, I really hope you guys can find some of these tips useful. If you like videos like this, I really recommend you subscribe because that means I'll have more money to go buy Popeyes. Anyways, I'll see you guys. One of these things is not like the rest. What are you doing over there, Jake?
I'm reading and drinking.
Oh, what a coincidence. What about you, Lila? What are you doing?
2-hour Pomodoro method study with me.
Yikes.